The river is dark, almost black, in the early morning light. Mist coils just above the surface, swallowing the oars as they dip in and out of the water. A low creak of wood, the distant cry of birds. Then silence. These men are not raiders. There are no shields raised, no war cries. Their ship carries furs, silver, amber, and something far more powerful. A secret route that will quietly redraw the map of Europe. The screen fades to black. White letters emerge slowly. The secret Viking trade route that changed Europe forever. When most people imagine the Vikings, they picture firelit coasts, burning monasteries, and longships crashing onto foreign shores. But behind the violence that made them famous was something far more enduring. Trade, not across open seas but through the hidden arteries of Europe itself. The camera glides over a map, rivers glowing faintly as if alive. The Baltic Sea, Eastern Europe, the Black Sea, the Caspian. Long before highways and borders, rivers were the true roads of the medieval world, and no one learned to master them faster or more ruthlessly than the Vikings. By the late 8th century, Scandinavian traders began pushing eastward, away from the familiar North Sea raids. They followed rivers inland, hauling ships over land when water ran out, dragging them across mud, forest, and stone. This was not exploration for curiosity's sake. It was strategy. These routes would later be known as the Varangian trade networks, though at the time, they were closely guarded paths, known only to those who dared to survive them. The journey often began in the cold harbors of Sweden, near modern-day Stockholm. From there, ships entered the Baltic and slipped into river mouths, almost invisible from the sea. The Neva River, Lake Ladoga. Names that sound quiet today but once echoed with movement, negotiation, and danger. Visual, longship. Moving, aperiver. Forests closing in on both sides. The Vikings called these men far-traveled, not warriors. They carried scales, not swords, though they always carried both. Furs from the north, walrus, ivory, amber, honey, slaves. Captured in return, silver from the Islamic world, silk from Byzantium, spices, glassware, and coins stamped with Arabic script found centuries later in Scandinavian soil. One route in particular would change everything: the Volga trade route. Flowing southward toward the Caspian Sea, the Volga connected the Viking world to the Abbasid Caliphate, one of the richest civilizations on Earth at the time. This was not Europe trading with Europe. This was Scandinavia trading directly with the heart of the Islamic Golden Age. Dirhams, silver coins minted in Baghdad, and Samarkand poured north in staggering numbers, so many that Viking economies began to reshape themselves around silver weight rather than local currency. We know this not from legends, but from hoards buried deep in the ground, thousands of coins, hidden and never recovered. Visual close-up of ancient silver coins being unearthed. These routes were not empty. They passed through Slavic, Finnic, and Turkic lands territories controlled by powerful local groups. Trade required diplomacy. Diplomacy required force. Out of this tension emerged fortified trading towns, emporio places, like Staraya, Ladoga, and Novgorod. They were not Viking colonies in the traditional sense. They were crossroads. Languages mixed, customs blended, power shifted. From these river towns rose figures who would become legends not as raiders, but as rulers. One such group would later be known as the Rus. Originally Scandinavian traders, they gradually integrated with local Slavic populations. Over time, they stopped being seen as foreigners. They became something new. By the 9th century, these river routes connected the Baltic directly to Constantinople, the richest city in Europe. The Dnieper River became the backbone of this southern route, leading straight to the Byzantine Empire. Visual, golden domes of Constantinople. Ships approaching the city walls. Byzantine records describe these northern traders in chilling tattooed, heavily armed, yet disciplined in negotiation. They were feared, they were respected, and they were indispensable. So valuable were these routes that Byzantine emperors employed Vikings as elite bodyguards of Varangian guardmen whose loyalty was bought not with land, but with silver and access. This trade reshaped more than wealth. It reshaped politics. The rise of Kievan Rus centered on Madranda. Kilu was not born from conquest alone, but from control of rivers. Whoever held the choke points controlled the flow of silver, slaves, and goods. Kings were crowned, not by bloodline, but by axis, visual, river choke point. Fortifications overlooking narrow water there were turning points. As trade intensified, routes became targets. Rival groups fought to control portages, short stretches of land, where ships had to be carried by hand. Ambushes were common. Entire caravans vanished without a trace. By the 11th century, change came quietly. The Islamic silver supply slowed. Political shifts disrupted minting. New trade routes emerged farther south, and the Viking river highways began to fade. But their impact did not. Modern Eastern Europe's borders, its cities, even its cultural foundations were shaped by these hidden waterways. Kyiv, Novgorod, Moscow, all trace their origins to trade, not conquest. Even today, archaeologists still uncover Arabic coins in Scandinavian fields, silent proof that Europe was never isolated. It was connected by water, by ambition, and by men willing to risk everything for access. The Vikings did not just raid Europe. They stitched it together. As the river disappears into the horizon, the oars lift once more. The mist closes behind the ship. No fire. No battle. Just the quiet movement of history flowing forward, unseen but unstoppable.